so it is a Sunday afternoon in Bangkok, and we are trying something a bit different this week.
Yeah. We're currently in our friend's apartment actually, because she's away this weekend, it's a bit nicer.
She has better lighting than
She has better lighting in her house, yeah.
Thank you, Tama.
So basically what we've been doing for the last few months is just been taking you around on little travel vlogs and showing you where we're going and stuff like that. But we decided we want to do sort of like a how-to guide, and because we've been living in Bangkok for long enough now. So this is sort of like a how-to guide on how to live in Bangkok on a budget.
I've been here for over 2 years. He's been here for almost 9 months.
Yeah.
And we figured it was about time we shared it with you.
I would say there's sort of 4 main categories that you spend money on, which is travel, activities, accommodation, and food.
So the first one we're going to talk about is travel. You can't walk around everywhere in Bangkok, so you're going to have to take some form of transportation while living or traveling in Bangkok. So one of the first and arguably coolest way to get around the city is by the Chao Phraya River Express boat. They're one of the cheapest ways, and it's a really great way to see the city because you can get on a ferry boat for as little as 4 baht. And just to put that in perspective, 35 baht is about $1.
42 baht is about £1.
So 4 baht is maybe pennies to get around the city. And you also just get to see the riverside communities. There's a ton of top attractions along the river like Wat Arun, the Grand Palace, Wat Po. So in addition to being really cheap, you also get to see a bunch of really cool stuff.
So the Chao Phraya River actually stretches quite a long way. It goes all the way from the furthest south we've gone is by Asia Teak, which is where we've shown you before, and it stretches all the way to Northumbria, which is where we took you for Koh Kret. So it literally stretches quite a far way.
Our next tip is to explore the city by bus when you can. Some of the buses are free and you can hop on and off. I don't think any of the buses really get over 20 baht, so no matter where you're going, it's about less than $1. It's not the most comfortable form of transportation because some don't have air conditioning, but if you're on a budget, you kind of have to let that slide. Okay, so our next step is a super important one. I think one of the biggest way that tourists are scammed when they come to Bangkok is that they can't get a meter taxi. By law, taxi drivers have to give you a meter taxi. So if you go to one, especially in front of any major hotels and airports, and they say that they do not use a meter, simply thank them and go find one that does. Meter taxis start at 35 baht, which is $1, and the meter runs by distance traveled. So it's one of the cheapest ways to get around the city, even if there's traffic.
Because even when there's traffic you're sitting in, it still might only be a 20 baht or something more expensive because they sort of judge it based on the kilometers that they go. So it's definitely worth doing that. But you obviously get a lot of taxis who will say they'll try to give you a flat rate of 200 baht, 300 baht, especially in areas like Koh San Road and super touristy areas because they know they can rip tourists off. Obviously be super
diligent in turning people down if they give you a set price. You will find a taxi eventually. It might take a little bit longer, but it will be exponentially cheaper.
Another form of taxi, they have Grab and Uber here as well. So obviously I'm sure you've used that in other countries where you just use the app and you can just book a taxi and type in your location and everything like that. They do work out more expensive than a meter taxi though. Basically, Bangkok is split up into sois, so each road or each area is divided up into soi, which means alley. So soi 1, soi 2, soi 3. And sometimes a certain restaurant or wherever you're going might not have a soi, and you end up not knowing where to tell a taxi to take you. So sometimes if you get Uber or Grab, it's easier by GPS because they can just look on their phone.
So our next form of transportation is a tuk-tuk. For budget travelers, we normally recommend not taking them at all because they do have fixed set prices that they'll give you. If you have to take them, be sure to barter with them. So if they suggest 300, you counter with 150 and then go from there. But again, we don't really take tuk-tuks anywhere we go. We don't really recommend them if you're traveling on a budget in Bangkok. But
another form of transportation, which is my favourite form of transportation, is the BTS SkyTrain. They have 2 types of train systems in Bangkok, which is the BTS, which is the SkyTrain, and the MRT, which is the underground. It covers a lot of the city. The BTS are aircon, they're super fast, they're super clean, they're super modern. They can get a bit busy during peak hours and rush hour, but other than that, it's super convenient to get on.
And fares only range from 16 to about 46 baht. And if you're going to be in Bangkok for more than a few days, we recommend getting the tourist pass, which is 150 baht for 1 day of unlimited stops. Next category is activities, which includes nightlife. So luckily for visitors to Bangkok, there's so many things you can do here for absolutely free. So the first thing you want to do is visit the parks and green spaces around Bangkok. So obviously heading to Lumpini or Benjikiti or any of those really lovely green spaces, there's no entrance fee. You can meander around them for the day, get pictures.
There's a whole lot of green space here, and the parks are really, really vast in size as well.
Yeah, and the parks are also going to have excursions within them. So like when we took you to Lumpini, obviously there were like aerobics classes, yoga classes, paddle boats that you can take out into the water, Chinese pavilions. Like there's so much more to see and do in a park than you think there would be.
Yeah.
Our next tip is to visit markets. There are a ton of really luxurious shopping malls in Bangkok, but we would suggest avoiding those, instead going to one of the cheaper markets found around the city. The Pak Long Flower Market in Chinatown is one of the markets where it's really good to go and take photos, but you're not actually going to go and purchase like a bouquet of flowers. And same with like...
Or you might, I don't know.
Up to you. And there's like the Amulet Market, which is also near Chinatown as well, which is just a really good place to go. And people watch and take photos, but not necessarily buy things. So it'll be less tempted to spend money.
If you want to buy souvenirs and buy clothes, because obviously when you come traveling, sometimes you definitely need like a new pair of swim shorts or a bikini or whatever, and Chatuchak Market and places like that where we've taken you before are the best places to go, because you can find things that you would find in the high street for like half the price, and you can barter with them as well. So
be sure to barter. Another important thing to make note of is if you are going to go to like a Chatuchak weekend market, go in the morning, because they think that their first seller brings them good luck for the rest of the day, so they're more likely to barter with you if you're there earlier in the day as opposed to in the afternoon or at night.
And it's less busy. These markets can get super busy, especially in the heat.
Another thing that you can do for free in Bangkok is visit an art gallery. One of our favorite ones in the city is the Bangkok Art and Cultural Center, which is right off the National Stadium BTS SkyTrain station, and go, and they always have different photo exhibitions. There's a bunch of cool bookstores and art shops in there, so it's a good spot to spend like an afternoon just kind of meandering around and seeing what shows they have going on at the time.
So some more non-costly things that you can do are obviously visit temples, because they're super, super cheap anyway to enter. They range from anything about like 50 baht to 100 baht. But there are a bunch of temples, depending on where you're staying, they're actually quite easy to find. Like you can even ask like your local hotel or whatever. There's always like a ton of shrines and a ton of temples everywhere in Bangkok, which will be free to enter.
So another really cool thing you can do is visit the Artist House in Thonburi. It's basically this house / cafe coffee shop that's right along the river, but they have traditional Thai puppet shows that's free to watch, and it goes on for about an hour, and it's really cool because Thai puppetry is kind of a dying art form, and it's one of the only places in Bangkok you can go to see this done, and again, it's free, so definitely check that out while you're here.
Obviously, a lot of people when they come to travel to Thailand, is the first thing they do is book a tour. These can be quite expensive, so a lot of times you can actually just like watch videos like ours, and obviously Google, and there's a ton of
Google it.
There's a ton of other bloggers who will tell you like what to do, and you can virtually do these for free or like book them yourself, and it's much more costly effective.
Included in activities is nightlife. So obviously Bangkok's nightlife is massive. It seemingly never ends. One of the cheapest places for a night out is the infamous Khao San Road. So buckets filled with booze start out at as little as 150 baht, and you could definitely share them between 2 to 3 people.
I wouldn't even say it's a downside. It sort of depends on your personal preference, but Khao San Road is definitely very, very, very touristy, and it's not very like authentic Thai at all, so it's basically just like a big party zone. But no, I mean, if you want to go out and meet other travellers, that's a perfect place to go and save money, because obviously if you're travelling by yourself, a lot of people do stay in the hostels around Khao San Road so they can meet other people. But we strongly recommend that you come into the city and like see some like of authentic Thailand that's like not mass produced for tourists. If you want to pre-game or pre-drink, as we call it in the UK.
I forget, you guys don't say pre-game.
Yeah, we don't say pre-game. Pre-drink, then just go to your local 7, which I'm sure will literally only be a few meters away from wherever you're staying. And you can buy beers, you can buy alcohol, like spirits, and you can buy everything there. Just pre-drink, pre-game at your hotel or wherever you're staying.
Yeah. In addition to pre-gaming at your local 7-Eleven, you can also have a few pre-drinks at these cheap kind of hole-in-the-wall bars. A great example of this is Cheap Charlie's, which is actually so close to our house, it's dangerous, but drinks start at 80 baht, which is a little over $2, and you can get beer, cocktails, and wine for that cost. Cheap Charlie's is basically an expat watering hole, and there are Thais that visit as well just because it is so cheap. So it's a really good spot to kind of kickstart your night and then go out. There are multiple bars around the city that offer both ladies' night and men's nights.
One I know, which is in Wu Bar, which is in the W Hotel. So the guys' night is on a Wednesday, I think.
Yeah, so C'est La Vie also has ladies and men's nights as well, and C'est La Vie is located pretty close to W Hotel. Witch's Bar in Plonchit does 2 ladies' night, one on Wednesday, one on Friday. So just do your research before, and you could potentially drink for free for a very long time. Our next topic is accommodation. Bangkok is a really good place to stay on accommodation options. Obviously, hostels are super cheap. Some of the cheapest ones are going to be found along Khao San Road, but they're scattered throughout the city, so be sure to just do your research and find which one will work best for you. In addition to staying in group dorms, which are normally cheaper, if you're traveling with someone, it's oftentimes much cheaper just to book a private room and then split the cost between the two of you. So definitely be sure to look at both options when you're booking.
So when you are booking, there's a ton of apps and a ton of websites where you can book these on. Bangkok in general is quite cheap when it comes to accommodation. So hostels some of the times aren't actually as cheap as hotels. So one of my favorite apps to use, which is Agoda, and I would say by far that's the cheapest app for the whole of Asia. I mean, it stretches from across the whole world, but as I've been traveling in Asia, Agoda is super cheap. There's always discounts on there, and you can book hotel rooms that you can even book 5-star hotel rooms for super cheap prices that you'd be really surprised at.
And as you continue to book with a specific website like Agoda, for example, you build up points and then you get discounts later.
Yeah, and you can also link it to your air miles. So mine's linked to my British Airways Executive Club. Hostelworld is also another one. The way they work is they're mainly just hostels, but there's a ton of people that leave reviews and everything on there. And they have all different types of hostels, like backpacker hostels, ones that are more quiet. And the way that works is you just leave a deposit when you pay for it, and you actually pay for the accommodation once you get there. So, say for example, if you had to cancel last minute, you wouldn't lose out on all your money. It would just be a bit of your deposit that you miss.
Another thing we suggest doing when you're booking any hotel or hostel is to either do so in advance or to do so within their 24 or 48-hour cancellation period, because they're more likely going to have more rooms for less.
So obviously the last category is food. So there are a bunch of really good food places to eat, and the good food isn't necessarily always in 5-star hotels and amazing rooftops and amazing restaurants. I've had some of the best food I've ever had on street vendors and literally in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, so the number one thing to save money on food is to obviously eat the street food.
You can get anything from a whole pad thai for I think the cheapest pad thai I've had was in Krabi, and that was maybe 30 baht. It could have been 20 baht, and it was one of the best pad thais I've ever had. And if you're scared about things not being cooked and everything like that, 9 times out of 10 you're less likely to get food poisoning by the street food, because if anything it's overcooked, because they're constantly leaving it on the heat and turning it around and overheating it. If
you're not keen on the idea to dine in on the side of the road, there are also super cheap food courts in many of the malls in Bangkok. So for example,
I'm pretty sure almost every single mall in Bangkok has a food court, and their prices are almost the same as street food.
I found that some of them are even cheaper. So in Terminal 21 in Asok, their food court on the 6th floor, prices start as little as 20 baht for a dish. A lot of the food courts will have vegan and vegetarian stalls as well. So for any of you vegetarians out there, they got you covered. And many of the stalls in Terminal 21 will start at 20 baht per course, and you just load up on however many you want and then call it a day. Another thing that you guys should do is download apps like Go Loco and Eatago.
So Eatago literally just has a whole lot of discounts depending on you can book a reservation, and depending on what time it is, so if it's a peak hour or if they don't have a lot of reservations there, you can get anything up to 70% off your meal. So you can still dine at these really sort of posh and nice restaurants, and even bars do it as well, and get a really good discount on your meal.
Go Loco is another new app that is in Bangkok, and you basically go on it and it'll give you restaurant recommendations and the deals that they're having. And the deals on the Go Loco app are specific to that app. So you wouldn't go to a restaurant, for example, and find that they had the same specials that you found on Go Loco. So they're completely different, and they're tailored to that app.
So yeah, I think that's it for this week's video. This is the first time we've ever done sort of a sit down thing with you. So please let us know how we did, and if you
But don't be too incredibly critical.
No, be critical, but just be nice
Be
about
nice.
it. Just don't be mean. But yeah, no. So if you want to see more videos like this, then let us know in the comments. And if you want to know any more information specifically, then just tell us what you want to hear, and we could do a video on that specific thing.
Yeah, so if there are any topics that you want us to cover, let us know in the comments below. Again, let us know how we did, and if you want to see more videos like this, or if you want us to go back to travel vlogs, if there are any specific attractions you want us to cover, please let us know. We would love your feedback.
Yeah, but if you are a new viewer, don't forget to like and subscribe. We upload videos every Tuesday. There should be our logo in the bottom right corner, so I think it's this side. You can just click that and subscribe really easily. There will also be a link in the description to all our social media handles.
Be sure to check in the link in the description below, because there'll be an article on how to save more money in Bangkok. And be sure to be on the lookout every week, as I publish stories every Monday and Thursday.
And you can press the little bell and you get a notification as well when we upload things. So other than that, I think that's it. And we hope you enjoyed this week's video, and we will see you next week.
Bye!